Las Vegas has a problem. It was never built to survive. People are still coming. The planes are still full. The sidewalks are still crowded. But the stays are getting shorter. One-night trips, quick weekends, fast exits. The city that was designed to trap you for a week is now watching guests disappear before the second morning. And that is dangerous, because Vegas does not make money when you arrive. It makes money when you linger, when you wander, when you get bored enough to spend. That time is vanishing. Behind closed doors, casino executives are not celebrating visitor numbers. They are panicking over something far worse: how fast people are learning to leave. Number 10. The trip feels expensive before it feels fun. The trouble starts before most tourists even leave the airport. They pull up their hotel confirmation and notice the resort fee they forgot about. $35, $50, sometimes more. Then comes the parking charge, another $20 to $40 per night just to keep their rental car on property. By the time they reach the front desk, the trip already feels like a transaction instead of an escape. This is the silent killer of Vegas vacations. Guests arrive financially tense before they experience a single moment of entertainment. Instead of walking into the casino with excitement, they walk in doing math. How much have I already spent? How much more can I afford to lose? That mental state poisons everything that follows. Dinner feels too expensive. Drinks feel overpriced. Every decision becomes a calculation instead of an impulse. And when spending feels stressful, people stop spending. They retreat to their rooms. They check flight times. They start wondering if they even need a second night. Las Vegas used to greet visitors with possibility. Now it greets them with invoices. The fun is supposed to come later, but for many guests, later never arrives. They are already planning their exit before the first show starts. But even if they push past the initial shock, the next obstacle is waiting just around the corner. Number 9. Nothing feels simple anymore. There was a time when Vegas felt effortless. You walked into a casino, grabbed a drink, found a seat, and let the night unfold. No reservations, no apps, no velvet ropes, unless you wanted them. Spontaneity was the entire point. That era is gone. Today, almost everything requires friction. Want to eat at a decent restaurant? Book 3 weeks in advance. Want a lounge chair by the pool? Download the app and hope something opens up. Want to see a show? Prepare to navigate dynamic pricing that changes by the hour. Even simple pleasures have been optimized into obstacles. Nightclubs require guest list signups. Day clubs demand dress code compliance checks. Casinos push loyalty apps that promise rewards, but mostly collect data. The result is an experience that feels less like freedom and more like logistics management. For many visitors, this friction accumulates invisibly. They do not consciously realize why they feel tired or annoyed. They just know that every hour requires more effort than they expected. And when effort exceeds enjoyment, the natural response is to cut the trip short. Vegas was built to feel like an escape from rules. Now it feels like a theme park with 100 different ticketing systems. Guests who came expecting easy fun instead find themselves exhausted by complexity. And once that exhaustion sets in, it only takes one bad moment to break the spell entirely. Number 8. One overpriced experience breaks trust. Picture this. A couple sits down for dinner at a strip restaurant. The menu looks reasonable. They order 2 steaks, a bottle of wine, and dessert. When the check arrives, it is $480 before tip. Suddenly, the mood shifts. The excitement drains out of the room. For the rest of the night, every price tag looks like a trap. This is how trust dies in Las Vegas. It only takes one moment of sticker shock to rewire how a guest sees the entire city. That $40 cocktail, that $25 room service coffee, that resort fee that appeared at checkout even though it was never clearly disclosed. One bad experience creates suspicion, and suspicion kills exploration. Once burned, tourists stop taking chances. They skip the restaurant they were curious about. They avoid the casino floor because they assume the odds are rigged against them. They sit in their hotel room scrolling for cheaper options instead of wandering into the unknown. The city loses its magic because the visitor no longer trusts it. The worst part is that these moments are rarely reversed. A single positive experience cannot undo the feeling of being cheated. Guests who feel taken advantage of do not just shorten their trips. They tell their friends, they post reviews, they become ambassadors of resentment instead of return visitors. And once the trust is broken, the physical reality of Vegas starts working against them too. Number 7. The physical layout is draining. Las Vegas was not designed for efficiency. It was designed to keep you wandering. Casinos stretch for what feels like miles. Exits are hidden behind slot machine mazes. Walking from your hotel room to the street can take 15 minutes through endless corridors of retail and gaming floors. For guests expecting a relaxing getaway, this layout becomes exhausting within hours. The summer heat punishes anyone who tries to walk the strip during the day. The crowds create bottlenecks at every escalator and crosswalk. Even getting from one resort to another feels like a physical challenge instead of a casual stroll. By the first evening, many visitors are already worn down. Their feet hurt, their patience is thin, the idea of exploring more casinos or catching a late show feels impossible when all they want is to sit somewhere quiet. That exhaustion accelerates departure plans faster than any price increase ever could. Younger tourists might push through, but families with children and older travelers hit the wall quickly. They came to Vegas expecting energy and excitement. They leave feeling like they ran a marathon through a shopping mall. The city demands more stamina than most vacations require, and not everyone signed up for that kind of trip. When visitors are too tired to explore, they are too tired to spend. They retreat early, sleep late, and check out before giving the city a second chance. And even those who do make it to the casino floor often find that the games themselves have changed. Number 6. Gambling feels risky instead of fun. The casino floor used to welcome everyone. $5 blackjack tables filled with tourists learning the game. Low-stakes poker rooms buzzing with casual players. Slot machines that let you stretch $20 into an hour of entertainment. That accessibility made gambling feel like recreation instead of finance. Those days are fading fast. Blackjack minimums on the strip now start at $25 during peak hours and climb to $50 or $100 at night. Slot machines are programmed tighter. Even the complimentary drinks come slower unless you are betting big. For casual visitors, this shift turns gambling from fun to pressure. Losing 3 hands of blackjack at $50 each means burning $150 in under 10 minutes. That is not entertainment. That is stress. And stressed players do not linger at the tables hoping for a lucky streak. They walk away and start packing. The casinos argue that higher minimums generate more revenue per player. What they fail to measure is how many players they never see again. A tourist who gets wiped out quickly does not come back next year. They tell their friends the games are unbeatable. They take their entertainment budget to a city that does not treat them like an ATM. Vegas was built on the dream of winning. When that dream feels impossible, the whole city loses its appeal. But the damage goes deeper than dollars lost. It is the way the entire experience has started to feel. Number 5. The city feels transactional. Something has shifted in how Las Vegas treats its visitors. Interactions that once felt warm now feel scripted. The bartender upsells top shelf before you finish ordering. The host mentions the VIP package before you are seated. The dealer barely looks up between hands. Every exchange carries the faint pressure of extraction. Tourists notice this even if they cannot name it. They sense that they are being processed, not welcomed. The smile is real, but the motive behind it is obvious. This feeling accumulates over hours, creating an invisible weight that makes the trip feel less like an escape and more like a transaction. Hospitality is supposed to create connection. Great service makes guests feel valued, understood, and taken care of. When that warmth disappears, nothing else can replace it. The fancy lobby does not matter if the staff treats you like a revenue unit. The free drink does not taste as good if it took 30 minutes and a $100 bet to get it. This transactional energy is exhausting in a different way than physical fatigue. It drains enthusiasm. It makes guests defensive. It shortens patience and shortens stays. People came to Vegas expecting to feel special. Instead, they feel like marks. When a city stops making visitors feel welcome, those visitors stop giving it their time. They shorten their trips, tighten their wallets, and start wondering why they came in the first place. But for a growing number of tourists, the reason they came has changed entirely. Number 4. Social media changed why people visit. A decade ago, visitors came to Las Vegas for the experience. They stayed 3 or 4 nights because the city rewarded time. The longer you lingered, the more memories you made. Rushing through felt like missing the point. Today, a significant portion of tourists arrive with a different purpose. They want content, a photo in front of the "Welcome to Las Vegas" sign, a video at the Bellagio fountains, a selfie inside a trendy new restaurant. Once those images are captured, the trip has served its function. Staying longer offers diminishing returns. This is not laziness. It is a fundamental shift in how people define travel. For many, especially younger visitors, the goal is not to experience a place deeply, but to document having been there. Las Vegas becomes a backdrop instead of a destination. One night is enough to collect the proof. Then on to the next city, the next feed update, the next location tag. Casinos cannot compete with this behavior because they were never designed for it. The entire Vegas model assumes guests will stay, wander, gamble, eat, drink, and repeat. When visitors treat the city as a photo opportunity instead of a playground, that model collapses. The irony is painful. Vegas spent billions creating spectacle to attract attention. Now that attention arrives, captures content, and leaves before spending what the city expected. But the competition for those dollars is not just internal anymore. Number 3, better value exists elsewhere. Las Vegas used to own American nightlife. No other city could match the concentration of clubs, restaurants, shows, and casinos in one walkable stretch. If you wanted a certain kind of weekend, Vegas was the only answer. That monopoly is over. Nashville offers honky-tonks and live music without $300 bottle minimums. Miami delivers beaches and nightlife with better weather and fewer hidden fees. Austin, New Orleans, and San Diego have built entertainment districts that feel fresh instead of exhausting. Even tribal casinos across the country now offer gambling experiences without the Strip's markup. Travelers are doing the math. A weekend in Vegas might cost $2,000 after flights, hotels, food, and entertainment. That same budget stretches further almost anywhere else. And unlike Vegas, those other cities do not punish you with fees for existing. Once tourists realize they have options, Vegas loses its default status. It becomes one choice among many instead of the obvious answer. And when comparison shopping enters the equation, shorter stays become inevitable. Why spend 4 nights in an overpriced desert when you can split that time between 2 cities that offer more for less? This is the competitive threat that keeps executives awake at night. Vegas cannot lower prices without destroying margins, but it also cannot maintain prices without losing visitors to hungrier destinations. The squeeze is real, and it shows in every shortened trip. Yet perhaps the deepest problem is what those short trips prevent from ever happening. Number 2, short stays prevent emotional attachment. A strange thing happens when you spend enough time in a city. You develop routines, favorite restaurants, a bartender who remembers your drink, that one casino where you always seem to win. These small familiarities create emotional attachment, and attachment creates loyalty. One-night trips destroy that process before it can begin. Guests arrive, glimpse the surface, and leave before anything sticks. They do not have time to find their favorite spot or build a rhythm. The city remains a stranger, and strangers are easy to forget. This is the hidden cost of shortened stays. Not just the immediate revenue lost, but the future visits that will never happen. A guest who falls in love with Vegas over a long weekend becomes a repeat customer for life. A guest who breezes through in 30 hours has no reason to return. They saw it, they did it, they moved on. Casinos spend millions on loyalty programs trying to manufacture the attachment that used to form naturally. But no amount of points or perks can replace the feeling of knowing a place. That feeling requires time, and time is exactly what tourists are know. Longer giving. Without emotional connection, Vegas becomes interchangeable with any other entertainment option. Just another city on the list. Just another trip to cross off. The magic that once made people return year after year fades into forgettable blur. And that brings us to the real crisis underneath everything else. Number 1, Vegas. Depends on time, not crowds. Here is the truth that terrifies casino executives. Las Vegas was never designed for short visits. Every inch of the city was engineered to stretch time, to keep guests inside the ecosystem for as long as possible. The winding casino floors, the free drinks that encourage lingering, the lack of clocks and windows, the resorts that contain everything you could ever need. This design only works if people stay. A guest who spends 3 nights will eat 9 meals, attend multiple shows, gamble dozens of sessions, and buy souvenirs for everyone back home. A guest who stays 1 night might eat twice, gamble once, and leave. Before the pool even opens, multiply that difference across 40 million annual visitors, and the math becomes terrifying. Occupancy numbers might look stable, but revenue per guest is collapsing. The crowd is still arriving, but the time is evaporating, and time is the only resource Vegas cannot manufacture. This is why executives are panicking. They can build new towers, launch new restaurants, and book new residencies, but they cannot force people to stay. The entire business model depends on visitors surrendering their weekends, and more tourists are refusing to do it. Las Vegas sold itself as an escape from ordinary life, but escapes require immersion, and immersion requires time. When trips shrink to a single night, there is no escape. There is only a transaction, and transactions do not build empires. They just delay the collapse.